Looks like we are streaming.
Okay, perfect. All right, we are Facebook streaming as well. Doug, if you want to start.
Okay. Welcome everybody to a new year. And I hoped it would be better than last year, but so far it's not, but time will tell. As Nancy said, we're going to start with Julie. I just realized here the clock on the wall is not working, so I'll have to watch another clock to stay on time here. So anyway, if you want to carry on, Julie.
Thank you. Yes, I think we'll ask Warden Marks to get us started.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking time out to have Julie and I. Yeah, it is a new year, and I've seen that clock on the wall. You need to put a battery in it. But I want to thank everyone for taking the time to discuss the recently completed County of Elgin's delivery review. This process began in February of 2020 after the county received funding from the municipality modernization fund, that's a long one, to begin a comprehensive review of the service of Elgin and the manner in which we provide them. The goal of this review was to determine where and how we can provide our services efficiently and effectively, and how we can partner with Elgin's local municipalities and neighboring communities to provide services that are efficient and seamless for our residents. A result of significant consultations, staff, elected officials, county, the local municipal partners in the city of St. Thomas identified 110 unique internal and shared service improvements for the county. These improvements would amount to $1 million in savings over a multi-year time frame. Improvements can be categorized into 12 detailed high-impact initiatives: internal county operation, increase local municipal partner collaboration, and rebuild regional service models. One of the areas that consultants investigated was the Elgin County Land Division Committee, which is why we're here today. Through consultation with local municipal partners, consultants came up with several recommendations that, if implemented, could improve the purposes of the Land Division Committee for local municipal partners, applicant members. I will now turn the presentation over to Julie Gagnon to provide an overview of the delivery review and a more in-depth look at the recommendations for the Land Division Committee. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Warden, and thank you to all Land Division Committee members for all of the great work that you do. I know last year was a difficult year for you while you transitioned all of your business to a virtual environment. So congratulations on making that process seamless. So I'll ask staff to advance the slide. So this was an exciting time for the county last year, because for the first time in our corporate history, we undertook a service delivery review that looked at all of our services and looked for efficiencies across the corporation. So we really had to be careful and narrow down the project focus, and we zeroed in on 3 key areas. The first one was reviewing and improving the county's human and community services with a focus on long-term care. This is an area where the county spends an additional $5.3 million a year to ensure that we have quality care for our residents. The second priority was to examine and improve the county's internal operations. And the third priority was reviewing, improving, and potentially expanding upon shared municipal services with our local municipal partners, as well as the city of St. Thomas. And I might just ask that those in the council chambers mute their line. There's a bit of feedback. That might help. So the consultants did kind of a current state assessment, and they identified that the county has strong, forward-looking, nimble leadership, and there's desire across the corporation to implement strategic change. So that's good news. We're well positioned to take on some wholesale transformational change. The second item that they identified was that governance and communication enhancements can be improved, and we could use this to better execute our contracts. And those contracts may be some that we have with our ambulance provider, or our shared service delivery contracts with our local municipal partners, to give you an example. And the third opportunity that they noted was that while the county celebrates its long-term care homes and the great work that we deliver through that service, now is the time to address both short-term and long-term strategic issues associated with how we deliver that service. We'll just advance to the next slide. So now is also the right time to start leveraging technology. And this will help us resolve any remaining paper processes that take up an inordinate amount of staff time. And we could better use that staff time for value-added activities and realize some efficiencies and cost savings. And lastly, they noted that Elgin's financial state is quite comparable to our comparator municipalities. And we have a similar operating and capital budget with lower long-term debt. So we're in a strong financial position at the county. In terms of shared services opportunities with our local municipal partners, first, the consultants noted that there is an opportunity to improve how we work together with our local municipal partners. They suggested that we rework our current relationship and processes and contracts in order to make sure that the needs of both parties are being met. They also noted that once we resolve that process, then we could consider enhancing our shared service offerings in the areas of IT, planning, collaborative purchasing, human resources, and offering professional engineering advice to our local municipal partners. In terms of shared service opportunities with the City of St. Thomas, which is the next slide, they suggested there might be an opportunity for the county to explore a joint economic development corporation with the City of St. Thomas. So this is a model that exists in Windsor, Essex, and they've realized some really positive returns from this relationship. So the consultants identified that as a best practice and suggested that County Council consider partnering with the city in this way. As well, they said, kind of as a medium, longer term solution, there could be an opportunity to work closely with the city's IT department and leverage some expertise in IT services and share the costs associated with making sure that we're able to undertake digital transformation strategies on an ongoing basis. And they also noted that St. Thomas Public Library and Elgin County Library have a strong history of working closely together. And so why not build on that? They suggested we formalize our procurement relationship with them so we could undertake some shared procurement, which could result in $15,000 to $45,000 worth of savings. As well, they suggested that we look at areas in the county where we're experiencing the greatest growth that are close to the City of St. Thomas, and perhaps partner with the city on some growth and facility needs, and improve collaboration in areas of programming as well, particularly in response to some of the deliverables that might come out of the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan that's currently underway by the county, Town of Aylmer, and City of St. Thomas. Next slide, please. So in terms of the Land Division Committee, and I should have mentioned when I started this presentation that the full report, if it hasn't been sent to you already, I'm sure Nancy could send out the link to the section of our website that has both an executive summary and the full report. It is, close to 140 pages in length and takes some sifting through, but for the purposes of this presentation, I'll focus on the Land Division Committee recommendations. So they recommended a two-phase approach to development services in Elgin. One focuses on improving the processes of the Land Division Committee, and then exploring the possibility of offering planning services to our local municipal partners. So based on feedback from the local municipal partners, our staff, consultants, the service delivery review included the following improvements. Communication. So they suggested that communication protocols be established between the county and local municipal partner staff, with a focus on when to schedule public meetings, communication on potential conditions, and receiving local municipal partner feedback. So there were some issues with a lack of alignment with when we're scheduling things and receiving information and when we're able to produce that information and present it to the Land Division Committee. So as well, this may include having local staff attend public consultation meetings to ensure that they fully understand the context of the application. And in terms of process, this wasn't unique just to planning and land division, but the consultants noted that there is a need to define a clear process, some timelines and roles and responsibilities for the county and our local municipal partners. And this includes how fees are handled. I know some of you have probably heard feedback that some community members who apply for severance or any sort of application that involves both tiers of government, there's often a perception that there is a duplication of fees. So figuring out what that process is should be developed with our local municipal partners to ensure there is no duplication of fees taking place, and then we'll clearly communicate that out. Draft survey. So they noted that occasionally there are discrepancies between submitted sketches at time of application and actual surveyed properties after conditional severance approval has been granted. And this requires applicants to reapply for modification, and this causes greater expense, but it also causes a lot of frustration. So this would resolve some of the negative feedback that we hear about the process. And this initiative would require draft surveys at the time of application submission only, and that would eliminate the discrepancy. So next slide, please. Additionally, Land Division Committee has functioned well for decades, but we've relied on a paper-based process. And applicants, we've heard from them that some of them would like to be able to apply online. It would certainly streamline some of our back of house initiatives if we could rely on or leverage technology to improve our process. And that would create more staff capacity to do some value-added initiatives. So we hope to create an online process that eliminates the need to scan and print documents. It helps with records management. It also helps expedite some of the work that has to be done and the ways that we communicate with our applicants and with Land Division Committee. It also helps us resolve some errors and improve our productivity. So committee staffing. The consultants recommended that we staff the committee with trained planning professionals to support the professionalism of the committee. And so Steve Evans supported the committee, and now Nancy as a full-time planner. So council has invested in a full-time position to support the Land Division Committee and other county planning initiatives, which is great news. So the committee can rely on the registered professional planner to help answer any questions about specifics in the applications. Training. So we have heard feedback from committee members as well that there is interest in professional development and attending conferences. And so the consultants did recommend that, we provide a very comprehensive orientation and that we create training manuals and materials for members as part of onboarding. So we'll make sure that with the next term of Land Division Committee members that material is all prepared. But also we'll bring forward any educational opportunities, conferences, seminars that the Land Division Committee may be interested in attending. Skills matrix and board appointments. So we did hear from the consultants that the next time we are putting out a call for Land Division Committee members, that we develop a skills matrix which supports the local municipal partners who actually recommend for appointment to the Land Division Committee. It'll help them be objective about who they're selecting for the committee. So it kind of takes the politics out of it, and it makes it more of a skills-based application process. And hopefully we'll be able to work with the Land Division Committee on what those skills and capabilities are in advance of the election that would take place in, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years now. So next slide, please. So in terms of next steps, we've progressed well beyond the November 10th date, which you see first. And this is when Elgin County Council received the service delivery report. Staff have now investigated, and as of yesterday, we presented a number of recommended service delivery review priorities for this year. And there's 12 high impact areas. And then the fourth area, we'll skip ahead because yesterday council did make recommendations. The fourth area is ongoing implementation, partnership not only with the City of St. Thomas, but also with the Land Division Committee and our local municipal partners. So we expect that when you receive a report that's 140 pages in length and that has 110 recommendations and the potential for $3 million worth of savings, implementation doesn't happen overnight. So we'll be relying on the experts around this table to help us inform what the change in manual process to technological process looks like, how to improve the end user's experience for, for the work of the Land Division Committee. And then we'll be sharing lots of opportunities with you for enhanced training and working with you to develop a skills matrix for the next election of Land Division Committee members. So with that, the warden and I, and I'm sure our county planner, Nancy Posado, would be happy to answer any questions the committee might have. And thank you again for your time this morning.
Okay, thank you, Tom and Julie, for that presentation. It touched on a lot of things that Land Division has maybe had some queries about over the last couple of years that we thought could be improved. Anyone else in the Land Committee have something they want to add here? Or Nancy?
Does anyone have any questions for Julie and Warden Marks with respect to the service delivery review?
John?
Okay. No,
Can you,
John, you're on mute.
Unmute there, John.
Nope. John, you're still muted. I'm not sure what's Can we manually?
How's that?
Oh, there we go. There we go. Now we hear you.
All right, sorry about that. I appreciated the presentation this morning. Julie, I guess one of the things that concerned me about the executive summary was there's no metric in there. There's no real sense of, at least for me, of the performance of the committee in general. And without a metric saying, yeah, you're at 70% or you're at 30% of approval, then if we institute all these changes, many of which make good sense, I just don't have a feeling for whether it can be measured accurately as to whether an improvement has been gained.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chairman, to John, I think you've raised a very valid point, and that is something that we are looking at with all of our services and the potential impacts to all of these services. So in an effort to ensure council is transparent and accountable, we have to have measurables and deliverables, and we have to create that benchmark data to support whether the changes have been positive or negative. So I think we'll be working with you as a committee to determine whether we survey previous applicants to gauge what their experience was. We look at our own data that we collect to make sure that we're able to track that and compare it against next year's data. So you're absolutely right, and that's again another component that we'll be relying on the experts around this table to help us inform how we collect benchmark data, how we measure metrics, and how we report the success of council's investment, and communicate that to our local municipal partners as well. So excellent point, John.
Thank you.
Anyone
Does anyone-
else got something to say there?
Yeah, I've got a question about, has any thought been given about how you're going to involve the committee in all of this? Because with the expertise, we've got, knowledge about what we might want to see improvements in training or the fees or the process. And you're going to want, a year and a half is going to go by quickly. So has there been any thought to, is this going to be an agenda item to each of our committee meetings? Are we going to meet separately so we can have some early input into all of these changes that you're talking about?
Yeah, so certainly I'll work with Nancy on a plan to add on a section perhaps to your land division committee meetings so that we're able to gather that input. And as you mentioned, Dennis, gather that info early because we have an aggressive schedule to work with here. So excellent point, and we'll coordinate some time. It might involve reaching out to you to find out what time works best for you, but we'll make that a priority.
Just as an aside, we currently actually have the secretary treasurer role advertised right now. So we're hoping that within the next month or so, we'll be in a position to hire that new position, and therefore bringing that person into the loop as well in order to ensure that they hit the ground running and that they can also provide the level of service that you'll need. So that's an important point to mention as well.
Anyone else got anything there?
Mr.
Trying
Chair.
to watch this screen. If I miss somebody, don't be scared to interrupt.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, may I ask one other question
Yes, John, go ahead.
or make a comment? Thank you. The last item on the skills matrix and board appointments worries me a bit. When the appointment came up for BAM, 3 of us applied for the position. One, the previous committee member. The second was a former deputy mayor of BAM and myself. And I'm just concerned about, at the risk of using an unpopular word, elitist. I'm just concerned that a skills matrix may end up with restricting the number of people who may feel comfortable applying for the job if the skills matrix is particularly oriented towards, and I have a very positive view of planners, as I was an RPP at myself one time. But is this going to reduce the number of people applying for these positions in the future? 3 in BAM strikes me as being very low. And I just worry that when that skills matrix is developed, and I think there's a strong argument for it, how will it incorporate or make sure that we get as broad a base of people to apply for these positions? Working on this committee is a tremendous thing.
If I may, through you, Mr. Chairman, to John, I think you've raised another really good point, and that is exactly why we'll be tapping into this committee to help us inform on a preliminary basis what that skills matrix looks like, so that we're not discouraging any applicants or in any way, kind of working against ourselves in order to volunteers for these very important positions. So we'll have those conversations at some point this year, and we can certainly work through any of those concerns, I think, while we develop a skills matrix. So it doesn't mean that, we'll only be looking for planners or those who have previous experience on a land division committee necessarily. Everything's on the table right now. So it's kind of a unique opportunity to reimagine how we've done things in the past and transform things. So we look forward to working with this team to transform how we have solicited applications in the past and how we'll move forward.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ian, did you have something you want to say there?
You're on mute.
Ian.
Hello?
Hello, Ian.
Yes. Yes, well, this is an excellent report, and I feel like there's one area we've been working on, and that is to try and have everybody go back, and we worked with Nancy on this, to have a survey. That's one of the conditions, and no partial, because we did find that this committee did the first of the year with no real good drawings. We were in trouble every time. And I think that's one point, and it's another somewhere we've got to work directly with. And as well, this committee is going to have to work very strongly with the Ministry of Agriculture for the province, because I just read an article where we've got rid of 1 million acres of good farmland to build houses on and to do it. And I think it's got to stop. And I think this committee's made aware of it and have looked at a lot of those. So, and I look forward to working with this committee on this new report.
Okay. Anyone else have anything to say there? Nancy? Do you have anything you want to say?
No, other than thank you very much from Julianne Warden Marks for attending today. Really appreciate it. It helps, I think collectively, it helps us all to know the trajectory of the Land Division Committee, which is really good. And we look forward to working with you in the future with respect to all these items. And we'll be in touch about that. So
Thank you, everyone. Have a good meeting. Stay safe.
Thank you.
thank you, Warden.
Mr. Warden.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've got by that. So I guess the next thing they want to do here is nominate a new chairperson. So I'm asking for nominations.
Mr. Chair, Ian has been vice chair. Ian, will you consider a nomination for chair for the next year?
Yes.
Oh, good. Well, Mr. Chair, I'm nominating Ian for chair.
Okay. Any other nominations? So we have to have a seconder on that, Nancy?
Yes, I believe so. And then we'll take a vote. Is that how we do it, Julie?
Well, I would suggest that the chair ask if Ian is willing to let his name stand and confirm that piece. And then we'll move on with a seconder and a full recorded vote.
Okay.
Are you willing to stand for the position, Ian?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Okay, so then now we need a seconder.
Second that.
So Rosemary, you will second, Rosemary Kennedy. And that was moved by John Selden.
Yes.
Okay, so now we'll do a recorded vote. John Andrews. John, you may have to unmute yourself. John's on a phone in, so I don't know that he can unmute himself. Okay, do we just move on, Julie, with the other votes?
You can record that as an abstain and move on with your list, and you can circle back at the end and see if he's able to respond at that time. Otherwise, it's counted as a negative.
Okay. John Ian Fleck,
Yes.
Dennis O'Grady,
Yes.
Rosemary Kennedy,
Yes.
John Selden,
Yes.
Jack Van Kasteren,
Yes.
Dougald Aldred.
Muted.
You're muted too?
Yes. Yes.
There we go, yes. And we'll try once again, John Andrews. 1 second. I'm
And
going
you've got
to
to go
just-
down to the bottom of the page and tap the bottom of the page. The mute, unmute button disappears. So if you just go down to the bottom of the page and tap it, it appears again.
He's calling in, so it's different for him. I'm just trying to, let me just see if I can maybe unmute this. 1 second. To unmute, press *6. John, if you can hear us, press *6 on your phone. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Sorry, John.
Yes, yes.
So you vote in favor of Ian Fleck as the chair.
I certainly do.
Perfect. All right. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, so
Okay.
now we have to nominate a vice chair, do we?
Yes, I believe so.
Nominations for vice chair.
I nominate Dennis O'Grady.
Dennis O'Grady's been nominated by, is it Jack?
John
nominated?
Was that John Andrews? Yes.
John Andrews, okay.
I will second that.
Will you accept that position, Dennis?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, that was seconded by, I didn't hear that.
Jack.
By who?
Jack will second that.
Thank you. Okay, we'll call a vote. John Andrews,
Yes.
Ian Fleck,
Yes.
Dennis O'Grady,
Yes.
Rosemary Kennedy,
Yes.
John Selden,
Yes.
Jack Van Kasteren,
Yes.
Doug Aldred.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So Ian takes over from now, is that right?
I believe so, yes. Thank you, Julie, for attending and for helping us through this.
Thanks, everyone. Congratulations, Mr. Fleck. See you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Ian, it's all yours.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Doug for all the work he's done this past year. It's been a challenging year, and we've got through it fairly well and made some changes, and all the best, and thanks, Doug. Okay, so the next thing is approval of the minutes. Hello?
Yes,
Yeah, we hear you.
we can hear you.
Approval of the minutes of December meeting.
I'll move him, Dennis O'Grady.
I will second. Doug Aldred?
I have one question, Nancy. On page 5, we list the municipality as Dutton Dunwich, and it should be Southwold Township, Fingal's in Southwold.
Page 5.
The minutes.
It's listed as. Oh, okay. Yep, we'll make sure that we can make that change.
That's the only thing I saw.
Okay.
Any other queries? Questions?
Okay, then we'll do a vote.
Call the vote, please.
John Andrews,
Yes.
Ian Fleck,
Yes.
Dennis O'Grady,
Yes.
Rosemary Kennedy,
Yes.
John Selden, Jack Van Kasteren,
Yes.
Doug Aldred.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Is next one 17-20?
Actually, before we skip to that, sorry, Chair, can we do a quick update from inquiries from Land Division Committee members? I actually do have something I wanted to discuss with you.
Okay, yes, sorry.
Okay. No problem. Very quick, the OACA website, I noticed that a few of you have now become members, which is great. Anyone else that has not signed up or become a member of the OACA, please, if you can, do so, and then just submit the reimbursement to myself and we'll make sure you're reimbursed for it. One of the things they do offer, though, is a series of videos with respect to training, which one of the things that was actually just mentioned, so this is very timely, about service delivery review is ensuring that there's appropriate training for all the members. So my question to you is, it needs to be purchased ahead of time and we need to do them as a group. It's so what we could do is we could schedule this training sessions or these videos for the next meeting. We could either do it as the first item. It would probably take most of the morning to do. I think most of these videos are about 15 to 20 minutes. So after 6 and breaks and what have you, it'll take a few hours, I think. So based on that, would the committee like me to purchase these videos? And we could potentially do a training session either before the meeting or after the meeting. So it's not part of the actual Land Division Committee meeting. Let me know what you're thinking.
What's the wish of the members?
Yes, it's a good idea, but I'm wondering, could we maybe put this off for a little bit to see if there's any chance we can get into in-person meetings again?
Oh, I see. Okay. That's, of course, we can certainly do something like that, perhaps in March or April, depending on the status of the province. What is everyone else thinking?
I agree with Dugald on that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Mr. Chair, Dennis here. Are these the same videos that we saw at the beginning of our last term, or are these different?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I believe they're probably similar, if not the same. I'm assuming, not having obviously attended the previous sessions, I'm assuming that they are the same. I think we would be doing it more as a refresher, I guess, for everyone, just to go over procedures and what have you. I think that would be helpful for me as well as maybe some of the other members if they do see value in it.
And you say purchase. I thought we rented it last time.
Yes, so you can, basically it's $300 and plus and you rent them for a few weeks, essentially, so they make sure that, so they expire.
Anyway, but I agree with the others that I'd like to leave it till we have in-person meetings again.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I agree with that.
Me too.
Okay. So I will not put it on the next meeting, just in case this ends up being another virtual meeting. And what we'll do is we'll target either the March or the April meeting, depending on the status of the provincial lockdown. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Sorry, Doug. Sorry, Ian, you can go ahead.
Okay, so the first item we have is E17-20. It's the Hall amended decision, and it's at 29548 Pioneer Line, Dutton, Dunwich. Do we have anybody to speak to it?
I actually don't see Mr. Joldserma online, so I'm going to assume he's not online for this.
Yeah, I think it's strictly what I looked at it when I talked to them. It was a measurement once the surveyor got there to make a change for close to a building.
That's right. When I spoke to the lawyer for the applicant, there was some minor changes that needed to be done with respect to the final survey. So that's been included in the letter that they provided. And we have provided the amended decision, which you'll see attached, where we've highlighted the changes to the actual decision. So you'll see that on the with the decision there.
This is part lot 12, concession 5, North A Plan 11R 5194, Part 1, Municipality of Dunwich at 29548 Pioneer Line. And does everybody understand what we're doing? Any questions?
There's no practical difference to the measurements, is there? There's no issues resolving around it?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there's no issue. It's just really, in fact, it's quite minor. It's just a little bit above what's permitted as per our application form. Normally, anything under 1.5 meters, we can consider in administratively, but in this particular case, it was slightly above that, so it needed reconsideration by the committee.
Then I'll move the recommendation.
Moved by O'Grady.
Do we have a seconder?
I'll second.
Andrew,
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'll second unless somebody else was there ahead of me.
John Selden seconded. Is that fine?
Second. Okay. All right, so we'll vote on the E 17-20, the amended decision as attached. John Andrews,
yes.
Ian Fleck,
Yes.
Dennis O'Grady,
Yes.
Rosemary Kennedy,
Yes.
John Selden,
Yes.
Jack Van Kasteren,
Yes.
Doug Aldred.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Next one's another amendment. And it's on a piece of property at 276 Marsh Line, Dutton, Ontario. And I believe it's the same thing, is it not, Nancy, a measurement? And that's why I think we've really got to look and push for actual surveys and not just measuring with measuring tapes at times.
Mhm.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion, we approve it.
Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Doug.
John Andrews,
Second,
Sorry, who was that seconder? Andrews?
Andrews. Do you have a question, Doug?
No, I was just going to second it. That's fine. Carry on.
Okay, we'll take a vote. E 32-20, the amended decision as attached. John Andrews,
yes.
Ian Fleck,
Yes.
Dennis O'Grady,
Yes.
Rosemary Kennedy,
Yes.
John Selden,
Excuse me, yes.
Jack Van Kasteren,
Yes.
Doug Aldred.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Really quickly, Mr. Chair, I just realized that Doug has the verbiage that's supposed to occur after a decision is rendered. He has the physical sheet and you do not. So if you could bear with me for 1 second, I might be able to find it electronically and send it to you via email. So you'll have it for the next item.
Okay, if you could send it to my phone.
Personal email?
My personal email.
I will, yes. Let me see if I can find it. Do you know where it is? Apologize, everyone. It's just, it's not in an easy spot apparently, so.
Is it chairman's comments?
Yes, maybe, yes. Does it have red in it?
Yes.
Does it say anything about COVID?
The decision rendered today for this application will be circulated within, there's a 20-day appeal period.
That's the one.
That's it. So it's in land division consent templates.
Land division consent templates.
Chairman's comments, there's a version 1 and 2, I'm not sure which one.
Land division consent templates. Templates? I'm in land division templates. I don't see it.
You're in the O drive.
Hmm?
You're in the O drive.
Mhm.
Right there.
Oh, this one. Court of,
Chairman comments. This one has the red in it. Yeah, no, it does not.
I see. Yes, okay, okay. And good news, we just found it, so I'll be sending that to you shortly.
Okay.
Screen back now.
Perfect. Okay, we just sent that to you, Ian. You can proceed with the meeting now. Sorry.
Okay, so we are now. Just excuse me here, I'm just. Okay, so now we're dealing with application E1-21. And it's lot 9, concession 10, municipality of Bayham, municipal address 54728 and 54744 Best Line. Take notice that an application has been made by Antonio Van Leeuwen and Best Line Farms Limited, 54466 Best Line, Aylmer, Ontario, for consent pursuant to section 53 of the Planning Act 1990, as amended to sever lands municipally known as 54728 and 54744 Best Line, legally described as Lot 9, Concession 10, Municipality of Bayham. The applicants proposed to sever a parcel with a frontage of 73.81 meters along Best Line by a depth of 64.45 meters and an area of 1.165 acres containing one house and garage. Proposed to create one new lot surplus to the needs of the owner. Are you there, Nancy?
I am. Is there anyone here on the line with respect to E1-21?
Yes, I am. Dave Rowe, agent for this. I've reviewed the county's staff report and conditions and satisfied with the recommendations in that report. I'm there, I guess, to answer any questions that any of the committee or others may have.
Thank you, David. Mr. Chair, would you like me to go through the comments that were received?
Yes, please.
Okay. From the municipality of Bayham, they were in support of the application, provided the following conditions be added: rezoning of the severed parcel, planning report fee payable to the municipality, and a digital copy of the final survey provided to the municipality. There were no comments, I believe, from the county engineer.
Are there any comments from the members of the committee?
Mr. Chair, I've got a question.
Yes.
Nancy, can you talk to me a little bit about what the provincial policy is regarding, in this particular case, it was a second surplus residence on the same farm parcel. So does the policy allow third, fourth, 5, 6 surplus residences? Is there any limit to the number of surplus residences that somebody can sever off their property?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the provincial policy statement actually doesn't have a limit. It doesn't say anything. It just says a dwelling unit. And generally, each municipality has come up with their own interpretation of what that means. With respect to this particular application, the municipality of Bayham actually had a policy that did not permit two surplus farm dwellings on one property. However, they went through the process of an official plan amendment to recognize the ability to do this. And that was recently approved. It was actually approved back in January of 2020 and was only recently reapproved due to the COVID emergency. So because of that, in this particular case, there is a policy that permits two surplus farm dwellings. The issue is that also the county official plan at this time doesn't stipulate or state that there's a limit on the number of surplus farm dwellings that can be severed. So long as there is surplus farm lands to be added to another farm property, there haven't been very strong dissent for allowing more than one surplus farm dwelling. Right now, the County of Elgin is going to be launching soon their official plan review. And what that will be is looking through their own policies with respect to the provincial policy statement and all appropriate provincial legislation. But one of the things we hopefully will also be looking at is some consistency when it comes to criteria for consents, especially with regards to surplus farm dwellings, because as I've indicated, it depends on the municipality and how they interpret the provincial policy statement. So at this time, there isn't anything strong which prohibits, unless the local official plan prohibits specifically more than one surplus farm dwellings. But you'll find that throughout the municipalities, that is not the case. So,
Claire, I can't hear you. Please don't talk to me, okay?
sorry, who was that?
I think it was unrelated to our meeting.
So I'll continue with the county comments. Generally, the county supports this application, provided the following conditions are added. A digital copy of the draft and final deposited reference plan be provided to the County of Elgin, and a solicitor undertaking to provide copy of registered deed for the severed parcel once completed. And those are all the comments received.
Is there any other questions from members? Do I have a mover and a seconder?
I'll move.
Sorry, who was that?
John Selden, sorry.
Selden?
John Selden, excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
O'Grady, second.
Okay, so we'll call a vote. It would be recommendation for approval on E1-21 with conditions as noted. John Andrews?
Yes.
Ian Fleck?
Yes.
Dennis O'Grady?
Yes.
Rosemary Kennedy?
Yes.
John Selden?
Yes.
Jack Van Kasteren?
Yes.
Doug Aldred?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
I just got this, Nancy. I'm just bringing it up.
No problem.
The decision rendered today for the application will be circulated within 15 days after the notice. There is a 20-day appeal period from the giving of the notice of the decision in which any person or public body may appeal the decision or any condition imposed. If no appeal is received within 20 days of the giving of the notice, the provisional consent becomes final. The applicant has 1 year to meet the conditions imposed and submit the necessary documents for certification, or the consent will lapse and a new application will be required. Please leave the identification signs in place until the appeal period ends, after which they can be removed. If you'd like to be notified of today's decision, please request a copy by contacting Nancy Pesto at anpasto@elgin.ca. A copy of the comment package is also available upon request. Include all correspondence received. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. I just wondering if, since we had David Rowe on the line on this particular application, if we should ask if he had any comments.
Sorry, David. You have no comments, David?
You're muted.
You're muted, David. Muted.
He's still muted?
Yeah. You're still muted, David.
Okay, there is, no issues at all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David.
I
Sorry.
pushed the wrong button and I lost you, so, but no issues. Thanks again.
And we've got about 5 minutes before the next one. Is that right, Nancy?
That's right. Yes, we have 5 minutes. So if everyone wants to just wait a few minutes. Grab a sweater.
Nancy, Dennis here. As host, do you not have the ability to mute and unmute people? Do you not have a master board there where you can do that?
Yes, I actually do. However, WebEx is different. I can't unmute people. The only thing I can do is mute people. So I actually did that, for instance, when Julie was speaking, but then I cannot unmute them for some strange reason. I don't know why WebEx works like that. Zoom, I know, has that function as well, but unfortunately for our corporation, that's what we have. So,
so if you're in a bad mood, you just turn everybody off and not.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we will deal with the next one, which is application E2-21, lots 11, 12, 13 of concession 8, municipality of Bayham, address 10060 Summers Road. Take notice that an application is made by Springer Hill Farms Incorporated, 5 Woodhaven Drive, Unit 304, Tilsonburg, for consent pursuant to Section 53 of the Planning Act 1990, as amended to sever lands municipally known as 10060 Summers Road, legally described as lots 11, 12, 13, concession 8, municipality of Bayham. The applicants propose to sever an irregular parcel with a frontage of 246.03 meters, 807-19 feet along Summers Road by a depth of 404.77 meters, 1,327.99 feet, and an area of 84,000 1,174.61 square meters, 20.8 acres, to be merged with an abutting parcel. The owners are retaining 671 square meters, 57 acres, proposed to remain in agriculture. Okay, Nancy?
Is there anyone on the line with respect to E2-21 Springer Hill Farms, Inc.? No? Okay, I don't see anyone on the line. I'm going to go through the comments. The municipality of Bayham supported the application, provided the following conditions are added. Planning report fee payable to the municipality, digital copy of the final survey provided to the municipality, and letter of undertaking confirming the merger of the lands with the adjacent lands owned by Abram and Charlotte Wall, 10260 Summers Road.
Are there,
With respect to the county engineer, he did not have any conditions or comments, as it's not on a county road. And the Elgin County Planning did not supported the application, provided the following conditions are added. A digital copy of the draft and final deposited reference plan be provided to the county solicitor undertaking to provide a copy of the registered deed, and that the retained subject lands are deeded in the same name and interest as the abutting lot at 10260 Summers Road, and that section 50, subsection 3 of the Planning Act applies to any future consent affecting the same lands.
are there any questions from the members?
Yes, Mr. Chair, it's John Selden.
Yes, go ahead, John.
Through you, Mr. Chair, Nancy, it was a bit confusing in the material as to whether or not this was a boundary adjustment, a lot addition, but a lot addition isn't minor at 8 plus acres. This strikes me as a really terrific thing that people are doing. I have no problem with what's being done, but is it a technical severance or is it a boundary adjustment?
Through you, Mr. Chair, it's technical severance. We actually have policies in our official plan that talk about what's required for technical severance. Basically, they're very, as long as they do not produce a new lot,
Yes.
which this wouldn't, it's being added to. And in this particular case, it's actually adding more environmental lands in under one ownership, which is something that also is in the official plan with respect to environmental, natural heritage features. So because of that, it's considered to be a technical severance.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Can we have a mover and a seconder?
I'll move.
Moved by John Selden,
Yes.
seconded by Mary.
Okay. So the motion is to approve file E2-21 with conditions. John Andrews,
Yes.
Ian Fleck,
Yes,
Dennis O'Grady,
Yes.
Rosemary Kennedy,
Yes.
John Selden,
Yes.
Jack Van Kasteren,
Yes.
Doug Aldred.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
any, okay, the decision rendered today for this application will be circulated with 15 days after the notice. There is a 20-day appeal period from the giving of the notice of decision in which any person or public body may appeal the decision or any condition imposed. If no appeal is received within 20 days of the giving of the notice, the provisional consent becomes final. The applicant has 1 year to meet the conditions imposed and submit the necessary documents for certification, or the consent will lapse and a new application will be required. Please leave the identification signs in place until the appeal period ends, after which they can be removed. If you would like to be notified of today's decision, request a copy by contacting Nancy Pasto at npasto@algon.ca. A copy of the comment package is also available upon request, includes all correspondence received. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chair, looks like we're once again ahead of schedule.
Yes, so is there anything else you want to discuss, Nancy?
Just as a heads up for this next application, E3-21, just so everyone knows, the Township of Southwold asked for a deferral on this particular application to the next meeting. They were not able to provide comments in time as there's been some internal discussions with the applicant. The applicant, I believe, is on the line, so he'll probably be able to also provide some commentary on that. So I just wanted to give everyone a heads up.
Mr. Chair.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. Jack here. I wonder if maybe Nancy or someone could help clear up some confusion that I have on the previous application, further to Dennis's question regarding number of severances from a surplus farm dwelling from a farm property. I'm confused. I thought that once a severance was approved, that no further severances could be made on that land, and that in the past, we've had some of those come forward, and that's where the 1 foot by 1 foot situation came into play to allow a second severance. Where am I confused on that? Are they two separate issues or what?
Through you, Mr. Chair, that is two separate issues with respect to the 1 foot by 1 foot. It is of the potential for certain properties to have that. But I'll start with the first part of your question. So there is supposed to be a zoning amendment to remove the ability for the surplus farmlands to have a dwelling unit on them. So when in the case of where there is a second dwelling, for instance, on a property, it will be dependent on what the local municipality zone permits, whether it recognizes the existing dwelling or whether it prohibits any further severances. So that's all with respect to how the local municipality treats it. But generally, yes, most of these surplus farm dwellings, there is a requirement by the local municipality to rezone to not permit any future construction of dwelling units on the surplus lands to ensure that we don't get into a situation, obviously, where people are severing out surplus farm dwellings all over the place. So, yes. But the second question about the 1 foot by 1 foot, I mean, it could apply in this particular case, although I leave that up to the lawyer to let us know if there's an issue with that. They can also potentially give lands to the local municipality, which would circumvent the need to do that 1 foot by 1 foot. But again, in this particular case, it wasn't asked for, so I'm going to assume that the lawyer does not need to go through that process for this application.
So when that original severance took place on that particular farm, there would not have been a restriction added to that severance approval, that there would be no further severances on that property. Would that be the lawyer's job to look into that?
Well, that's partially, sorry, through you, Mr. Chair, that is partially the lawyer's job. But in this particular case, there was an official plan policy that did not permit any further severances. And that's why there was an official plan amendment that was done last year, which allows for the second surplus farm dwelling to be severed from the property. So that was done last year by the municipality.
Okay, so that clarified that situation. All right.
That's right. Mhm.
Because there is another application coming forward later in this meeting where there are potentially 3 surplus farm dwellings as well. So I just wanted to clarify that since we had time.
Of course.
Just
Yes.
one comment, Jack, on your question. I know it, and this is a thing I've been going to ask the committee, is that we look at some of these problems where they get 2 and 3 houses on a farm and then they try to sever them. And I think when somebody's redoing their planning and the municipalities, they have to look at it because you end up with 3 houses or 2 houses on a farm. Like the second house is built because they couldn't get a severance. A lot severed. So
Right.
We have two in our community, and I know there's some in other communities. And that's why we've got to look at this very strongly. And hopefully through the county planning and the municipalities planning to stop some of this. Because it's the same way that you're talking about the one later on. There's 3 homes there.
That may have, in fact, at some point in the past been 3 50-acre farms with buildings on them or something like that.
It was a nursery, and so they had a lot of people come and live 6 months of the year.
Ah, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, actually, that happens a lot with, there are, secondary farm dwellings that are constructed for temporary farm help. And sometimes those end up becoming something that people sever off or try to sever off with respect to a surplus farm dwelling. It really comes down to where they construct these. I know in my previous municipality that I worked for, there was very strong policy about where a secondary farm dwelling could be located on a property. It had to be within the farm cluster and it could not be severed in the future. But a lot of the local municipalities may not have that kind of policy with respect to that. So if that's the case, then if they can put the secondary farm dwelling anywhere on a property, then it potentially sets up this issue with future severances. So.
Right.
What I'm talking about now is on farmland. One of the family members builds a house, but has nothing to do with the farm. The farm's always been rented out for years, but he doesn't work farm. Also, and I think that's starting to get the problem too. There's too many homes in the rural areas taken away from land.
Mr. Chairman, I think that's why it's important for this committee when the county starts looking at changing different things related to planning, OP, zoning bylaws, that they don't just look at our committee as being sort of we're the end process and we don't have any input into any of that other stuff. We have those insights and we need to try and incorporate some of those insights into the actual wording of the OPs and zoning bylaws so that we don't get caught in this again. Because if you're not working with this every day like we are, like you are, you just don't see these little minor things that can cause real headaches in the future.
Yeah.
So I'd really like somehow you to make sure that our committee is in again before all of that OP and zoning bylaws stuff is finalized.
Thanks for your comment.
My second point is we've got that deferral coming up. And Nancy, you said something about the landowner being on the line and we might hear something from him. I don't think legally we can do that, can we?
The agent, sorry, through you, Mr. Chair, the agent can't speak and just generally indicate what has transpired thus far if they'd like to. But the recommendation is for deferral and that's ultimately what you'll vote on.
But if it's a recommendation for deferral, there should be no discussion. Should there be? Except for, do we accept deferral or not deferral? I mean, it's a recommendation of the municipality. There should be no debate from anybody from the public on that.
Yeah, I invited members of the public. The notice had already gone out by the time the deferral was asked for. So obviously this is a public process. We want to encourage people to attend. So some of the people that are on the line are members of the public that are here for this application. So in terms of the deferral itself, though, it's up to the committee whether they would like to hear. You can certainly still have public comments at any time. However, ultimately the recommendation on the that we're asking for is a deferral. So you can vote on that deferral.
Okay, we will now proceed with application E3-21. Part Lot C, concession ENBTRW, Township of Southwold, municipal address 10202 Talbotville Gore Road. Take notice that an application has been made by Carl and Carol McLean, 10202 Talbotville Gore Road, Talbotville, for consent pursuant to Section 53 of the Planning Act as amended to sever lands municipally known as 10202 Talbotville Gore Road. The applicants propose to sever an irregular parcel with a frontage of 5.5 meters, 18.04 feet along Talbotville Gore Road by a depth of a regular and an area of 2163 square meters or 0.53 acres. Proposed to create one new lot. The owners are retaining 1,883 square meters or 0.47 acres, proposed to remain in agricultural use. Now, as you've heard, the municipality has to have a deferred, is that right, Nancy?
That is correct. Through you, Mr. Chair, the municipality of Southwold has asked, I'll just read the letter. The Township of Southwold received the notice of public meeting on January 5th, 2021 from your department. The above noted consent has been circulated to Township staff for comments. Due to outstanding concerns raised by Township staff on the consent, the Township planner notified the agent who requested for the consent application to be deferred for consideration by the Council of the Township of Southwold. The agent has also indicated to the Township planner that they intend to amend the consent application. As a result of outstanding concerns from Township staff and the request by the agent to defer, to date, the consent application has not been brought forward to Southwold Council for the recommendation to Elgin County Land Division Committee. Due to outstanding concerns by Township staff and no recommendation made by Southwold Council on the consent, the Township of Southwold is requesting that Elgin County Land Division Committee defer their decision on the consent until outstanding concerns raised by the Township staff have been addressed by the agent and/or the application has been revised by the agent and Southwold Council have had an opportunity to provide a recommendation on the consent application to Elgin County Land Division Committee.
Do we have anybody to speak to this? Is there anybody to speak to it? Do you know, Nancy?
Hi there, Matt Campbell here, agent on behalf of the applicant.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Nancy, thanks very much for providing that description. And yes, we're in agreement with the recommendation for deferral on this one. Now, the situation here is that we have a proposed consent that, in our view, is perfectly acceptable and complies with the applicable policies of the Southwold OP and the county OP. And those are the two policy documents that we look to in determining the appropriateness of a severance. It has been brought to our attention through municipal staff, Southwold staff, that they have some concerns, and we're currently working with them on revising the proposal to address some of those concerns. We've had a fulsome meeting with municipal staff. They expressed concerns regarding snow removal and emergency access. The fire chief for Southwold indicated that they could still provide service to the proposed severed lands. Although it wasn't an ideal circumstance, they still could service it. So we're still in the process of working out some of those issues. And I would support the staff recommendation for deferral on this, so we can have some additional time to revise the proposal and hopefully come to agreement with municipal staff on this. I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee or staff may have on this one. Thank you.
Are there any comments from the members, or is it your wish to leave it till we hear more comments from Southwold? What's the wish of the committee?
Oh, Grady here, move to defer.
Do I have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Sorry, before we launch into the vote, can I just, for the people that are on the line with respect to this application, I just wanted to let you know that we will be recirculating once we receive a revised application from the applicant, and you will be invited to attend another meeting, likely the February 24th meeting at a specific time. So look for that in the coming weeks. And if you have any further questions, please contact myself with respect to the process or any other questions you may have. Okay.
Thank you, Nancy.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, John?
Through you, Mr. Chair, Nancy, at the risk of asking an obvious question, is this considered a flag-shaped lot? And is that not something that is not recommended by Elgin County?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we don't have policies that specifically refer to this particular lot or its configuration. Generally, the criteria for consent is if it meets the policies of the local official plan and the local zoning. So we rely very much on Southwold to let us know if they consider this to be an appropriate shaped lot. So based on that, we'll be looking for their comments as well to see if that meets our policies ultimately.
Thank you.
Seconder on that one? We did we not, Nancy?
We did, but I didn't hear either, sorry. Moved by
Duke.
Hey, Dennis?
Duke Aldred.
Aldred seconded.
Aldred, second. Okay. So the recommendation is to defer this application to a future meeting.
Yes.
Okay. John Andrews,
Yes.
Ian Fleck,
Yes.
Dennis O'Grady,
Yes.
Rosemary Kennedy,
Yes.
John Selden,
Yes.
Jack Van Kasteren,
Yes.
Doug Aldred.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
And I don't read this decision at the end, right?
That's right, exactly.
Thank you.
Committee, I just have a question if that's appropriate at this time.
Sure, Matt, go ahead.
Okay, Matt.
Thanks. I understand the motion is to defer. My question is, administratively, is the deferral to a specific date or a date to be determined in the future?
Through you, Mr. Chair. At this point, it's a date in the future.
Yes.
I've understood, I've sent you an email with respect to when I need the information in order to be able to reschedule for the February 24th meeting. If that date is not possible on your end, then we'll need to defer to a future date.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So the next one's for 10:30, is that right?
That is correct. We are whizzing through these, so.
Yep. Nancy, not that it's a big point, but I was, when they went through the summary of the potential changes, and they talked about the education of our committee, I actually thought the educational materials that we looked at, the conversation that we had with the lawyer, the long conversation we had with our lawyer, the fact we can go to conferences, I actually think the training is pretty good for our committee. And when I read that recommendation, it was almost like, well, they don't really get trained on much and they don't really know much. I'm not sure if the summary perhaps didn't encompass what might have been in the full report, but I would hope the full report did talk about the training we did receive.
Mm-hmm. Through you, Mr. Chair, I think the timing of when they did their interviews for the service delivery review, I'm not sure when that lined up with the new committee and the training that had occurred. So perhaps that was a longstanding issue, maybe with some previous members, or I'm not sure, but that's good feedback, though, to know that you feel that you have received adequate training, and that there's certainly resources available too, from, like I said, the OACA website, as well as the committee secretary, if possible. And if there's any other training that you do seek out with respect to land division committees, certainly we can discuss and see if it's a group effort or an individual type of effort. But it's good to know that the training so far has been good. So I will make a note of that, and we can certainly discuss as well, like I said, those videos from OACA, whether they're even necessary to go through them again or as a refresher, or if there's any component of any of the previous training that you'd like to go through potentially again as, like I said, a refresher or just to go over some points potentially, we can always set those up.
Sure, and I didn't even mention the binder. I mean, the binder we've got at the beginning had a lot of very, very good information and papers in it and everything like that. So yeah, everything can be improved, no question about it. But the fact that it to me, it didn't even hint at the fact that we received any of that training, I found that a bit odd.
And it might have been just a timing consideration through the lag from the interview times to the actual committee.
because always the first meeting of the new group is strictly a training session.
Through you, Mr. Chair, actually, is that so that's the first item that's usually done once the new committee is appointed.
Yes.
And then, you having been on the committee before, every year, is there a refresher, or is it just every 3 years you do that, the retrain?
Well, this is my first one there, and that was the first meeting we had after we were appointed by the county in December, whatever year it was. Now, we had that training, that all-day training with the lawyer there, and went through quite a bit of stuff that day. Yes, Rosemary?
I know when I started, I didn't have any training because I filled in for someone. But the following year, when the election was, we all went to the county chambers and we all had training. So it's like a separate meeting where we all went and got it. We had our binders, but we all went and had training. Like, we didn't have the lawyer speak, but yeah, I think it's that way.
Lucky you.
And it was every 3 years, basically, every
4
essentially,
years.
you don't, every 4 years, okay.
Yeah, 2022, I think is the next election, so.
Yes.
Further to Rosemary's comment, I came on, as you know, early last year when COVID hit, basically, and I didn't receive any formal training. I was given a binder and lots of stuff to read. So that's why maybe some of my questions are a little off the mark. I don't know. But yeah, that's something that needs to be addressed too. If the committee comes on as a whole and receives training, any substitutes thereafter, they need to be given that opportunity, I guess.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a good point. Good point.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. So whether there be a truncated training or, because the OACA provides those videos, though, maybe that's something we can set up then between yourself and myself. We can make sure that we purchase those videos for you, so you can do them perhaps over the next month or the next 2 months or something like that. So that way it gives you a little bit of that background. Now, you won't obviously have that lawyer training, but potentially maybe there's something we can do where we have the lawyer come in for questions or clarification or something like that at a future meeting as well. And that might benefit the whole committee.
Okay, so you initially at the start of this meeting, you said that we need to sign up to be a member of the OACO. Is that right?
OACA, yeah, it's the Ontario Association of Committee of Adjustments.
Okay.
Committee, yeah, I think it's OACA.
Yep.
Yes.
So I need to go online and apply to become a member then.
Yes.
Exactly, yes. There's a membership tab. If you go to the oaca.info, well, if you look it up on Google, you'll find it.
Yep.
So it's the Ontario Association of Committees of Adjustment and Consent Authorities, and they provide membership services. And once you're a member, there's lots of training materials. There's also, like I said, videos and things like that they can provide that are very helpful for being a member of a consent authority.
Okay, good to know. I will do that.
And
Great.
especially if we hadn't had the COVID, we'd have had a complete session every spring, and it's worthwhile. You're there for two, like Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's really good with the information they provide you.
Great.
So we're not allowed to have it because of the COVID.
Right.
They haven't pivoted online that you're aware of? No?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, we'll
They-
keep an
they
eye
have-
on that.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that too, just to make sure. So that way, if there is any educational or training materials that are available, maybe through an online virtual session, you're all aware of it. So,
So we're ready now for application E.
oh, wait, we have 2 more minutes. Sorry, based on my time.
Oh, sorry.
So I'll let Doug, do you have a question?
Yeah. No, in regards to Jack there, like, since we were all members before, we automatically got an email regards to that. But since he was a new member, he may not have got an email in regards to his membership.
That's right, Doug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May have to get the information from Nancy and get his name put on the list there, and he can buy his membership then.
I believe we signed up everyone online, and we did that very recently within the last month or so. So I'm hoping that Jack is available. If he has any troubles, though, he can contact us and we'll get that registration done.
Okay,
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
okay, Nancy?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay, we have application E441. An application has been made by Clarence and Roselle Kielstra, 89 Bodkin Street, St. Thomas, for consent pursuant to Section 53 of the Planning Act 1990, as amended to sever lands municipally known as 89 Bodkin Street, described as Part Lot 45, Municipality of Central Elgin. The applicants propose to sever a parcel with a frontage of 1.524 meters, 5 feet along Bodkin Street by a depth of 38.35 meters, 125.82 feet, and an area of 58.45 square meters, 0.014 acres, to be merged with an abutting parcel. The owners are retaining 724.7 square meters, 0.18 acres, proposed to remain in residential use. Do we have anybody online read this application?
I don't know whether you can hear me. It's Claire Kielstra here.
Yes?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, I'll ask Nancy to proceed.
Yes. Okay, so I'll go through the comments received. So the municipality of Central Elgin provided the following comments. They supported the application for severance, provided the following conditions are added. That the severed land be merged in title with the abutting lot to the west at 87 Bodkin Street. That subsection 3 or 5 of the planning of section 50 of the Planning Act as amended shall apply to any subsequent conveyance or transaction involving the subject lands. The solicitor for the applicant is to provide an undertaking whereby they inform the committee in writing that the lands are being conveyed to an abutting property owner, and thus a merger of title will take place, which merger shall include all interests held inclusive or mortgages interest. A drainage reassessment be done if necessary at the owner's expense, and the municipality of Central Elgin be provided with a copy of the reference plan. Just going through the comments here, the Catfish Creek Conservation Authority had no issues or comments. The county engineer had no issue, as this is not on a county road. And county planning supported the recommendation for the severance, provided the following conditions are added. A digital copy of the draft and final deposited reference plan be provided to the county of Elgin. A solicitor undertaking to provide copy of registered deed for the severed parcel once completed, and that the severed lands are deeded in the same name and interest as the abutting lot located to the west of the severed lands, municipally addressed as 87 Bodkin Street, and that section 50 subsection 3 of the Planning Act applies to any future consent affecting the same lands. And those are all the comments received.
Are there any comments from Mr. Kielstra?
No, it's simply a boundary adjustment, just moving the lot line 5 feet.
Any comments from members of the committee?
O'Grady?
Yes. Have you something, Dennis?
I'll move. Yeah, no, I'll move the recommendation.
Moved by Brady,
I will second that.
second by
Jack.
Castro.
Van Castren.
Okay. Okay, so the motion is to approve E4-21 with conditions.
Yes.
John Andrews,
Yes.
Ian Fleck,
Yes.
Dennis O'Grady,
Yes.
Rosemary Kennedy,
Yes.
John Selden,
Yes.
Jack Van Castren,
Yes.
Doug Aldred.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
So now I can read the decision rendered today for this application will be circulated within 15 days after the notice. There is a 20-day appeal period from the giving of the notice of decision, in which any person or public body may appeal the decision or any condition imposed. If no appeal is received within 20 days of the giving of the notice, the provisional consent becomes final. Applicant has 1 year to meet the conditions imposed and submit the necessary documents for certification, or the consent will lapse and a new application will be required. Please leave the identification signs in place until the appeal period ends, after which they can be removed. If you would like to be notified of today's decision, please request a copy by contacting Nancy Pasto at npasto@alca.ca. A copy of the comment package is also available upon request and includes all correspondence received. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kielstra.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
So I'll take this opportunity to discuss with you as well, committee. Just so you know, we're going to be kicking off the official plan review for the County of Elgin. We're going to be having a public meeting. It's going to obviously be held virtually online, and it's going to be on February 25th. I think it's a Thursday at 7 p.m. We will be sending you specifically an email of the notice for each of you if you wish to attend or if you wish to provide comment personally. But one of the things I was thinking of is that maybe perhaps at one of the next meetings, we can also have added as an agenda item potentially is the official plan review and potentially providing comments on behalf of LDC overall, if that's something that you'd wish to do.
Yes, I think that's a good idea. Any of the members have anything on that?
I would agree that it would be a beneficial process.
Okay. So it may not be the February meeting, but perhaps the March meeting, I will schedule something separate on the agenda, and we can use that as an opportunity to discuss the county official plan and with respect to obviously consent criteria potentially or consent process as well. And we can discuss if there's land division wishes to provide sort of comments on behalf of the group. Okay.
Since we have a few minutes, I wonder, Mr. Chair, if I could ask another question, general question.
Yes, Jack.
If someone could educate me a little bit. What government body in their wisdom decided that should an adjoining property be willed to someone that automatically, without discussion, those two formerly severed parcels of land become one parcel of land again, and force the last item agenda today to go through the cost and whatever to bring it back to its former self.
I think we've got a landowner we could put you in touch with, Jack, that would educate you.
I just wonder, where does that rule come from, and has that always been in effect, or is that something some government body in Toronto recently decided would be a good idea?
No, Jack, it's been going on, and it happens that a neighbor or one of the neighbors of the one that had the contested problem with us last year, bought 50 acres, submitted the names to his lawyer that he wanted to put in because he owned the 50 in front of it, and he was buying back the 50 behind it, and he owned on both sides of it.
Right.
Well, it ended up they're all joined in one now.
By virtue of a law, is that a provincial law or something?
It just, he doesn't know, and his lawyer says he doesn't know how
Yeah.
it's done at registry office, but it did.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead, Nancy.
Okay. From what I understand, it was the Planning Act. When the Planning Act was actually first created, I think it was the early 80s. That was that provision with respect to the merging of properties, basically. It was something to that effect, I believe, in there. And that's why the whole severance process has to occur and that sort of thing. It only occurs in certain instances. It doesn't always merge on title. It has to be, I forget if it has to be a full parcel or a whole parcel or what it is. There's certain instances that it occurs. But unless a lawyer is savvy enough to know to register in a different name or a different company or what have you, it does happen, and it happens actually quite frequently in a lot of places. It happens in cities and in the agricultural area. And then, of course, there's also now policy related to severances, especially in the agricultural area. So oftentimes, if that occurs and they merge on title, there may not be the ability to sever again. So I know it certainly creates a lot of issues, but it was done from a legal perspective at some point during either through the original Planning Act or one of the incarnations of the Planning Act. I think that's where it comes from. But it is a good question, and maybe something we can, if we do have a lawyer, for instance, come in and speak to the group again, that's a good question to ask them as well, is the history of that and where that comes from legislatively.
Yeah, and further to that note, Nancy, based on the historical knowledge that you just shared, in my opinion, that's a wrong that needs to be righted. And I wonder if there's an opportunity for the county, in this case, to include a provision in their own official plan that would override that silly piece of legislation, if you will.
Through you, Mr. Chair, unfortunately, because the Planning Act is actual legislation as opposed to our county OP, which is really just policy, there is no way to override that. It is the way that land assembly is done in the province of Ontario, so there's no way to override that. Certainly, the county can have policy with respect to allowing for technical severances or allowing for reestablishment of property lines. There is the potential for that, but it needs to also make sure that it meets the provincial policy statement. I think for the most part, it's incumbent on lawyers to know the legislation, as they obviously should, and make sure that these sort of pitfalls are not do not affect their clients. But unfortunately, it still does happen. So.
Like the one that we had last year, that individual still got a separate tax notice for 10 years. He says, and didn't realize it until they went to give one, sell it to the son. But yes, go ahead.
I know in the Ontario Federation of Agriculture, the stuff that I get from them, they're working on something like this with the government to see that farm severances, that they don't merge in title when this happens. And they're working.
That's good.
Yeah.
They are working on it, and they're also at the same time, they're the ones that are working on severances in rural areas because of the amount of land that was announced a week ago that has been lost to new houses and developments on farmland. So
all right.
At the same time, they're working on a number of items in the rural area. If they had their way, there'd be very little severances. The OMAF, their last report.
All right. Thanks very much for that discussion.
Mr. Chair,
yes.
can I make just two very small points through you, if I may? Nancy, in that 421, in your Planning Act and Provincial Statement paragraph, I think Eden should be changed.
Under E4-21, does it say Eden somewhere?
Yeah, it says it under your Planning Act and Provincial Policy Statement paragraph, the second paragraph in that.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay.
I see,
sorry.
yes, absolutely. No problem.
Right. And the other thing I want to mention is, can we ask that when the applicants put it in, that they refer to the 2020 PPS instead of some of them still coming in with the old date for the PPS?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I thought the application form reflected that, but we'll just make sure that that's reflected in the new application form. Unfortunately, we've had a couple of instances where the old application forms are provided. And for the most part, they are the same, but there are some differences based on, trying to be customer service friendly as well as still provide the appropriate information. We've allowed for a few of these to go forward, but have obviously cautioned people with respect to that as well. So, but we will make sure we're more diligent going forward.
It wasn't a complaint, Nancy. It was just, it just seemed odd to see it periodically. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so we ready for the next one, Nancy?
We are.
Okay, this is application E521, Lot 8, 9, 10, part of Lot 11, Township of Southwold. Address is 13524 and 13662 Ruth Road. Take notice that an application has been made by 2245885 Ontario Incorporated, 1040 Westminster Drive, London, for consent pursuant to Section 53 of the Planning Act 1990, as amended to sever lands municipally known as 13524 and 13662 Ruth Road, legally described as Lot 8, 9, 10, part of Lot 11, Township of Southwold. The applicants propose to sever a parcel with a frontage of 53.7 meters, 176.18 feet along Ruth Road by a depth of 57 meters, 18701 feet, and an area of 30,061 square meters or 0.76 acres, containing one house, proposed to create one new lot surplus to the needs of the owners. The owners are retaining 99.8 hectares, 246.61 acres proposed to remain in agricultural use. Do we have anybody to talk to this? Any agents?
We do. It's Helen Button from Gunn & Associates, an agent for the applicant.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, Nancy, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The comments are as follows. The Township of Southwold provided the following comments: that they support the application for consent, provided the following conditions are added: that the proposed sever parcel be rezoned, that the proposed retained parcel be rezoned, save and except for land zoned A1-2, that a septic system assessment be conducted on the proposed severed parcel to ensure that the lands are suitable for a privately owned and operated septic system, that an assessment on the private water well be conducted on the severed parcel to ensure the drinking water source is safe for human consumption, drainage reapportionment and payment therefore, that a mutual drain agreement be provided, that all financial obligations to the Township of Southwold be paid in full, that an electronic copy, Adobe PDF of the registered survey has been provided to the township, and that the solicitor provides an undertaking that a copy of the registered deed for the severed parcel, once the transaction has occurred, will be provided to the township. And just going to the next comments that were received. 1 second. The Lower Thames Conservation Authority also provided comment. Staff have no objections to this proposal. The authority is responsible for the natural hazard section of the provincial planning policy statement, as well as the Conservation Authority's development, interference with wetlands, and alterations to shorelines and watercourse regulation. An application from this office was required prior to any works, construction, or alteration taking place within the regulated areas. So just wanted to make the applicant aware of that. The county engineer provided no comment, as this is not on a county road. And the planning department for the county of Elgin supports this application, provided the following comments are recommended as well. A digital copy of the draft and final deposited reference plan be provided to the county of Elgin, and that a solicitor undertaking to provide copy of a registered deed for the severed parcel once completed. And those were all the comments received.
Are there any comments from the agent?
Not really to expand on that. This is, I think, fairly straightforward parcel with a surplus farm dwelling on it, private well and septic, a driveway already existing, and to be severed as part of farm consolidation.
Any comments from the members of the committee?
Chair Dennis here.
Yes, Dennis.
Helen, did you write this report? It's a good planning report.
Did I?
Yes.
I wrote up the application.
Okay.
That's what I wrote.
How did the second water test? Did it come back yet?
It did, and it was about the same. So they know that they need to probably add the filtration system and make sure that they can get a clean one.
Okay. My other questions, more comments. I don't think we need to put them into conditions, but depending on what you say, Helen, have you contacted the Conservation Authority yet?
No, we have not yet.
And Nancy, the letter they sent, I'll generously call it a lazy letter. But there's a couple things that, Helen, I'd point out to you that you should contact them ASAP to find out what's going on.
Okay.
And the reason I call it a lazy letter is you see in the very first sentence that they say that there's no objections to the proposal. But then they say that, and that's true, you can go to all the headaches you want to get this severance, but then you still require an application. But then what's really concerning to me is that the property is in the if you look at the second last paragraph of the letter, it's in a highly vulnerable aquifer and a significant groundwater recharge area. And those should raise a bunch of red flags, because then that means that it's subject to the Clean Water Act. And another form of laziness is that they say, oh, you should go look at the Source Water Protection Act, you should read the Clean Water Act, you should become familiar with that. That's not your job, that's the Conservation Authority's job. So, Nancy, I'd certainly like to have the Conservation Authority tighten these letters up, because they lead one to the impression that it's not a big deal because they have no objections to the proposal. And they can't make that statement without knowing if there are any restrictions on development according to this property. And the restrictions, depending on what they've written at the Lower Thames, they could refuse to allow septic systems, they could refuse to allow all kinds of stuff. And so I would certainly caution you that you should get in contact with them ASAP and force them to make a decision in writing as to what restrictions that they will put on what you want to do there. Because it could be substantial. When they use those words, highly vulnerable aquifer and significant groundwater recharge, those are big warning flags. You got to be very careful around those areas.
Okay. Thanks, I appreciate that.
Any other comments from anybody?
It's Andrews. I move.
John Andrews?
Moves.
O'Grady, second.
Okay. And just one comment. I think some of us know John Andrews. That was a nursery at one time, right, John?
Yeah, a little bit of history. It was owned by the Downham family out of Strathroy, which started the nursery. But you talked about, several houses. Well, at one time that I think was about 3 to 4 properties.
Yes.
And you said that there was people living on it. Well, the one brick house may be dead, but I spent time on council when that family wanted to build stuff there, and it got turned down. So there was really never a lot of people living there.
That's right. Thanks, John. Any other comments? Call the vote then, please.
Okay, so I have moved by Andrews, seconded by O'Grady. The recommendation is to approve E5-21 with conditions. John Andrews?
Yes.
Ian Fleck?
Yes.
Dennis O'Grady?
Yes.
Rosemary Kennedy?
Yes.
John Selden?
Yes.
Jack Van Kasteren?
Yes.
Doug Aldred?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, the decision rendered today for this application will be circulated within 15 days after the notice. There is a 20-day appeal period from the beginning of the notice of decision in which any person or public body may appeal the decision or any condition imposed. If no appeal is received within 20 days of the giving of the notice, the provisional consent becomes final. The applicant has 1 year to meet the conditions imposed and submit the necessary documents for the certification of the consent, or the certificate will lapse and a new application will be required. Please leave the identification signs in place until the appeal period ends, after which they can be removed. If you would like to be notified of today's decision, please request a copy by contacting Nancy Pasto at npasto@algoncounty.ca. A copy of the comment package is also available upon request, includes all correspondence received. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So we have 5 minutes till the next one. Just so you know, the applicant has provided some additional correspondence, which I set under separate cover. After we've gone through the explanation of the application, I can share my screen and show you the additional correspondence if you wish. But at this point, we'll just go through the regular application because that's what's before us. We have 5 minutes till that, so.
And this is E. This next one is E 621, right, Nancy?
That's right, correct. Yes.
Any members have any comments?
Nope. Hey, Nancy, I had trouble downloading that one. Did anybody else have trouble downloading that one? I mean, I could open it up, but I couldn't download it.
The email, you mean? I believe Rosemary had it the same issue. I'm not sure what it was. It was a PDF on my end, but I don't know if there was an issue with that PDF or not. So when I share the screen, hopefully that helps at least clarify some issues. Yes. So and then the committee can decide what they want to do with that information, whether that be approve as requested through the original application, approve as modified, depending on what you would like to modify, or even deferral if that's what you choose to do.
No, and I had a problem downloading it too. Dennis, it didn't download right.
I'm going to fully blame David Rowe on that.
Tell those IT boys to get on the ball, or else they'll be working out of St. Thomas pretty soon if they don't.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, John?
Just a quick suggestion, perhaps for 12 months from now, perhaps there's a case for going through the nomination process in December instead of January. Just so that all the materials needed to be switched over can be done between December and January. You would carry it through to December, and then the new person will start up in January. It's a small point, but might be useful.
Well, especially with this, the way it is now, and I've got it sent, but I'm looking at another computer to read the final that Nancy sent to me, the final items you have to read.
Yes.
There is a lot, but it's working out. I hope you understand that it's working out, but it's.
Oh, no, this was not a complaint, just a suggestion.
Yes, no, I agree with you.
And that could certainly be something, perhaps if we can discuss it maybe in the November meeting, that we could possibly discuss. So hopefully.
That's a great suggestion.
I think it's a good suggestion too. Yeah, makes sense.
Yes.
Can I add to that?
Rosemary?
Rosemary.
When your committee's elected, though, the new one, like when the 4 years is up, the people don't start till January, so you can't elect anyone.
Not in,
that in, like, say 2022, when the election is, when your new committee will take effect January 2023, so you don't know who's going to be on it in December.
that's right. It can't be held in, it can't be a written night. It can't be that way till you know when the new members are appointed by county council in that year.
Yes.
Correct.
And they're not appointed till after the middle of December after the warden's elected.
That's right.
Yeah, good point, Rosemary. Thank you.
I think it probably doesn't hurt if we wanted to discuss it in November as well, in terms of that timing and all of that as well. So just hopefully, John, if you can bring it up in November.
I'd be glad to.
Okay, we're ready to go.
Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay, notice of application for consent, application number E6-21, lot 23, concession 3, municipality of Bayham. Municipal address 56813 Light Line. Take notice that an application has been made by Mark and Rosemary McCord, 61 Victoria Street, Box 220, Port Burwell, Ontario, for consent pursuant to Section 53 of the Planning Act 1990, as amended to sever lands municipally known as 56813 Light Line, legally described as Lot 23, Concession 3, Municipality of Bayham. The applicants propose to sever a parcel with a frontage of 69 meters, 226.38 feet along Light Line by an irregular depth of 96.5 /75.9 meters, 316.60 /249.02 feet, and an area of 5989.35 square meters, 1.48 acres, containing a dwelling, 2 metal-clad garages, a garden shed, and frame shed, proposed to create one new lot surplus to the needs of the owner. The owners are retaining 20.04 hectares, 49.52 acres proposed to remain in agricultural use. Do we have an agent to speak to this?
Yeah, I think what I'll have Nancy go through the application. There's been a recommendation from Bayham to reconfigure the lot to make it smaller, and we've also had some comments with respect to Bayham's suggestions. So I think we'll just let Nancy carry on from here, and then I'll jump in later. Thanks.
Okay, Nancy, go ahead.
Okay, so the comments provided by the municipality of Bayham, the council recommend to approve the consent application subject to the following conditions. The reconfiguration of the severed lot as per IBI Group's memorandum, January 11th, 2021, Appendix A, to a non-irregular shape and reduced lot size. The rezoning of both the severed and retained parcels. The owner undertakes to raise the water wellhead up to 0.45 meters, 18 inches according to applicable code. Due to their structural condition, the owner demolishes and removes the shed and frame building from the severed parcel and the barn from the retained, all to the satisfaction of the chief building official to the municipality of Bayham. Planning report fee payable to the municipality, and a digital copy of the final survey provided to the municipality. Now, if you go through Bayham's comments, there is a revised drawing that they have provided. And also IBI's planning report is also attached, and it shows a reduced lot that actually sort of more, I guess you could say rectangle, creates more of a rectangle for the proposed lot and removes some of the a lot area to the rear of the proposed lot. So that's something that they have proposed. From the county engineer, there is no comment as this is not on a county road. And from the planning department for the county of Elgin, after reviewing the application, one of the concerns had originally been that there was cultivated lands as part of this surplus farm dwelling. And we were looking to potentially revise the application in order to remove some of those lands. However, after the explanation provided from the applicant, the County of Elgin has provided the following comment that they do support the application as noted, so long as the following conditions are added. A digital copy of the draft and final deposited reference plan be provided to the County of Elgin, and the solicitor undertaking to provide a copy of the registered deed for the severed parcel once completed. And those were all the comments that were received on this.
Any comments from any of the members?
Mr. Chair, Dennis here. So where does that line go now? I'm just blew up that line, and I know that outbuilding. So how close to that house is the lot line now being proposed?
As proposed right now through this application, one second, let me see if I can.
Well, the recommendation from the IBI is what I'm thinking of, right?
Oh, I
Isn't
see.
that's what the that's what the township is recommending as well, correct?
Yes, and they had indicated in their report, one second, let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, look, I couldn't see it. I just ballparker. David, do you know how close to the
Yeah.
house it is?
Yeah, they basically, if you take a look at the original drawing, what IBI suggested that the new lot line, south lot line be, they said a minimum of 15 meters from the, I guess, further south metal-clad garage. And that made the lot about an acre, I guess. My client went out and measured it, and he had put in a new septic system last year, and what he would like is that instead of the 15-meter setback from that further south garage, that you make it 18 meters, and that way he knows that there's a buffer between the septic tile bed and the southerly property line. So the two drawings are really quite close. We're talking an additional 3 meters, so it would be then 18 meters south of that garage. It squares it up. It makes the lot, I think, about 1 point something acres. So it makes the lot smaller and certainly reduces quite a bit of the cultivated farmland coming out of being lost due to the severance. So,
Through you, Mr. Chair, provided the alternative sketch that Mr. Rowe has recently provided on the alternative severance. And as you can see here, it shows 18 meters from that metal-clad garage, as opposed to what looks to be 15 meters from Bayham's proposed sketch.
Okay, any other comments? No comments from any other members?
So committee then has the opportunity to, there are several options here. You can choose to recommend the application as it was submitted with the original severed line. You can choose to modify the decision and change the lot configuration as per either Bayham's suggestions or as per the applicant's revised suggestions. Or you can also choose to defer this application to a future meeting to allow the applicant time to amend their application or to look at other configurations if you so choose.
Nancy, would it be best to have it deferred and then we get everything right in the application?
well, can I add maybe onto that? I submitted a revised application page with the dimensions as well as the sketch. So we actually I have submitted to the county would be the revised application with revised sketch. So I guess I've done the paperwork on that. So the committee, and when making up the decision, you would have the accurate information you would need for the decision.
Is that the application or the letters we have dated January 25th, Nancy?
That's correct. That would be the email that was recently circulated. So, and I'm also showing it on my screen here. So this is the application, the change to the application form essentially. And then the drawing itself, which shows the change.
What's the wish of the members? Rosemary?
I'd like
Ian,
to make,
may I ask a question? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Rosemary.
no, I was going to make a motion that we accept the applicant's proposal.
What's that? Comments on that?
I'd like to, Ian, through you, David, where was your letter? I'd hate to approve what you submitted without some sense that Bayham agrees with your numbers, with what you submitted.
I copied Margaret Underhill in on the comments, and then I think Margaret responded back to Nancy that she felt it would be up to the committee and it didn't need to come back to Bayham. That's how she left it.
That's correct.
Nancy.
Bayham has recommended their conditions, but it's ultimately up to the Land Division Committee to make the decision. So Margaret had indicated that it's basically on the committee now with all the information available to make a decision.
I was a little surprised at Bayham. Actually, they're generally pretty persistent in having a number nailed down or deferring it until it's adjusted to what they wanted. I just want to be confident that Bayham's going to be happy with what they see if this is approved with David's number.
It's the wish of the committee.
Mr. Chairman, we've got a motion that was made. I just want a clarification. It was the motion to approve the amended application that David Rose submitted, or was it to approve the original application?
I made a motion that we approve the amended application, but with the applicants, the 18 feet.
As was written in the Bayham recommendation, that they reconfigured to have the smaller zone as the sketch that we've got up on our screens here, right? The parcel A? Yep.
So it would be, at this point, what's on the table is a motion to approve the application with conditions and with a revised sketch as per the submission by David Rowe on January 25th, which would be the 18-meter setback from the metal clad building, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. I'll second that.
Okay.
Seconded by Dennis. Any further comments?
Do we have to add a subject to approval by Bayham then or not? As a condition?
Do you have anything in writing from Bayham, Nancy?
Through you, Mr. Chair, only the email that says that Bayham will not need to reconsider it, that it's really, it's kind of no different than any other application. It's basically now in the committee's hands. So if they want to make that determination, I mean, oftentimes you can make a decision that doesn't necessarily jive with Bayham as well. So, or any other municipality for that matter. You ultimately are the approval authority. So if you make this decision, then Bayham would, I suppose it does open us up to an appeal, but realistically, I don't think this is something that they would appeal. So it's up to the committee to make that decision, basically.
Oh, motion on the.
Please, for a minute, it's Mark McCord.
Hi, Mark.
Hi.
Yes.
Can I say something for a minute, please, about that? I just wanted to point out that the map that Bayham recommended said 15 meters minimum. So they weren't really recommending 15. They recommended 15 meters minimum. And we've gone 18.
Okay, what's the wish of motion on the floor? We call the vote.
Yeah, so we have a motion on the floor to approve E6-21 as amended based on the revised application submitted by David Rowe on January 25th, 2021. Yes. And it's moved by Kennedy, seconded by O'Grady. We'll take a vote. John Andrews?
Yes.
Ian Fleck? Dennis O'Grady?
Yes.
Rosemary Kennedy?
Yes.
John Selden?
Yes.
Jack Van Kasteren?
Yes.
Doug Aldred?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dave and Mark.
Yep, thank you.
Ian, you want to go ahead with the...
Oh, yes, I gotta turn my computer here.
Can you stop sharing your screen so they can see
right now?
The decision rendered today for this application will be circulated within 15 days after the notice. There is a 20-day appeal period from the giving of the notice of decision in which any person or public body may appeal the decision or any condition imposed. If no appeal is received within 20 days of the giving of the notice, the provisional consent becomes final. The applicant has 1 year to meet the conditions imposed and submit the necessary documents for certification, or the consent will lapse and a new application will be required. Please leave the identification signs in place until the appeal period ends, after which they can be removed. If you would like to be notified of today's decision, please request a copy by contacting Nancy Pasto. A copy of the comment package is also available upon request, includes all correspondence received. Thank you.
Thank you. Ian, we just have 1 more minute and we can launch into the last item.
Okay.
Just so everyone knows, actually very quickly, I'm assuming that probably the next meeting may also need to be virtually online, with the hope that obviously the meeting after that may be in person. So at this time, everyone, we've had really no connectivity issues, which is great. The only suggestion is I have Doug, who has come in because his internet connection is so poor in West Elgin that he needs to be here at the county building in order to connect. And I offer the same to John Andrews. If you'd like to also attend in person, what we can do is put you in a boardroom. We'll book another boardroom in the area, and that way you can at least avail of our internet connection. So I'll put that forward. But everyone else seems to have worked quite well. So I think for the next meeting, we will continue to have a virtual meeting likely.
Yeah. And I will get a few things written out and have them right at my hand.
Great. Okay, you can go ahead.
Okay, the next application is E7-21, parts lot 12, Town of Aylmer, municipal address 55 and 59 Pine Street West. Take notice that an application is made by Ian Cameron, 59 Pine Street West, Aylmer, Ontario, for consent pursuant to Section 53 of the Planning Act 1990, as amended to sever lands municipally known as 55 and 59 Pine Street West, legally as described as parts lot 12 and 13, Town of Aylmer. The applicants propose to sever a parcel with a frontage of 14.409 meters, 47.27 feet along Pine Street West by a depth of 41.837 meters, 137.26 feet, an area of 592.06 square meters, 0.15 acres, containing an existing dwelling and garage. The owners are retaining 1,082.115 square meters, or 0.27 acres, to remain in residential use. Do we have anybody to speak to this? Any agent?
Yes, we do, sir. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Ian Cameron.
Yes. Any comments?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members. This is a straightforward, what I would call legal or technical severance that Mr. Cameron is applying for. These properties inadvertently merged on title when Mr. Cameron's father was the owner of the properties. The application now is to sever the one property so that it may be sold. Mr. Cameron was not aware that the properties had merged on title, and in fact was quite surprised to find out that a merger had taken place. And so this application is strictly to restore the ability to transfer that property separately. No adjustment of any lot lines is proposed in this application.
Nancy, do you have any comments?
Yes, I'll quickly go through the comments received. So the town of Aylmer had no issue with this application and in fact had no conditions for this particular application. Let me just see here. The Catfish Creek Conservation Authority had no concerns. The county engineer did not provide any comment as it is not on a county road. And the planning department for the county of Elgin supports this application, provided the following conditions are added. Digital copy of the draft and final deposited reference plan be provided to the county of Elgin, and the solicitor undertaking to provide a copy of the registered deed for the severed parcel once completed. And those were all the comments received.
Any comments from any of the members?
Yeah, Van Castren, just based on all the information provided, I think it's pretty straightforward, and I will move that it be accepted.
So moved by Ben Castron.
Seconder,
I'll second it. Aldred.
moved, seconded by Doug Aldred. Any
Okay.
further questions?
No. Okay, then we'll go with a vote. The recommendation is for approval of E7-21 with conditions. John Andrews,
Yes.
Ian Fleck,
Yes.
Dennis O'Grady,
Yes.
Rosemary Kennedy,
Yes.
John Selden,
Yes.
Jack Van Castron,
Yes.
Doug Aldred.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, members.
Ian, if you want to read the last.
The decision rendered today for this application will be circulated within 15 days after the notice. There is a 20-day appeal period from the giving of a notice of decision in which any person or public body may appeal the decision or any condition imposed. If no appeal is received within 20 days of the giving of the notice, the provisional consent becomes final. The applicant has 1 year to meet the conditions imposed and submit necessary documents, or the certification or consent will lapse and a new application be required. Please leave the identification signs in place until the appeal period ends, after which they can be removed. If you would like to be notified of today's decision, please request a copy by contacting Nancy Passaro, and a copy of the comment package is also available upon request. Includes all correspondence received. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, everyone.
Okay, that's it.
That's it for today.
Okay, I'd like to just say to the committee, I will improve on the next one. I have everything in front of me, and it's an honor to serve as the chairman. Thank you.
Good job,
Thank you,
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you at the next meeting on February 24th.
Oh,
Okay.
24th? Is it not the last?
Oh, let me double
Oh, it
check
is
because I'm.
Sorry, it is the 24th. Yep.
It is the
It is the
24th.
24th, correct? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
great. We'll see you then. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yes. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes,
Oh.
A second.
Kennedy, seconded by Selden.
Yep.
All in favor?
Adios.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll talk
Thanks.
to you next month.
You bet. Okay. So how do I close this down?
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be a lot longer and a lot more discussion.
Oh, yeah. The items went very quickly.
Yes. I shouldn't say not as bad, that was the wrong term.